I'm Jake, and this is Neverland Navigation Radio, where we continue our expedition through the history of one of Walt Disney's most iconic classic attractions, the Enchanted Tiki Room. Part 1 was so fun.
Yes.
We discussed...
Oh, there's so much.
There's just so much information to go over. We discussed the origins of the idea, the original concept for the attraction, how the attraction came into its current form a little bit, and the sponsorships that went along with that. And today we're going to continue the adventure through the history.
Yes.
Very exciting.
Very exciting. This is like one of, I just think this is one of the biggest attractions. We don't go on it every time we go to Magic Kingdom.
No.
But still.
Do you out there in the world?
But,
I don't think you do, because the wait time is like 15 minutes.
No, I know. The wait time is not 15 minutes. It's a walk-on attraction.
It's true. Most of the time, yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
But would you be sad if it were gone? I feel like I would.
I wouldn't
be sad if it got changed or got updated.
Exactly. Because you know how I'm so sad about the Muppets, even though they're coming to Rock and Roller Coaster?
Yeah.
If they put the Tiki Birds in Ohana or something, I'd be totally fine with that.
Yeah.
I don't care if that actual building, is there or not. But the birds, I think you keep the birds somehow.
Speaking of, I didn't even do a lot of research on Trader Sam's to go with this, but I feel like I should have. It's Trader Sam's is kind of
they could go in there.
Yeah, they practically are already in there. I mean, it's like so Tiki Bird themed in there.
Yeah, it is a tiki bar. It does make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Anyway.
So yeah, clearly we wouldn't be that torn up if they took it out.
I wouldn't mind like a nice update.
Yeah, an update would be good.
Or like we said in the last episode, putting some Bingo barbecue-esque skewers for sale in there. That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be really nice. I do take food in there. I know this is what we've talked about the Tiki Room on the podcast before. Yeah. Do you take food into the
I've taken Dole Whip into the
and
Tiki
I can tell you, we have both eaten Dole Whip in this attraction like religiously.
Yeah.
So, what's the problem? Put some skewers in there. That would be really nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know you said you would be kind of sad if it shut down, but I think that's a little bit because of our nostalgia, don't you?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, same.
I don't
Disneyland one,
see it every time we go. No. I don't see it every time we go. I don't see it very often, to be honest. Yeah. But it feels like it should be there.
Yeah, it is part of the Adventureland, experience.
Yeah.
At least the shape of the building is also kind of iconic.
Yeah.
Well,
they wouldn't change that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. In our version, the shape of the building for sure is part of the landscape of Adventureland, I would agree.
I won't go too much into what I could see them doing with it, because I think you're going to get into that a little bit with what other parts of the world.
I will tell you what other parks are doing. I have not armchair Imagineered what they could do with it. I would love to hear what you think they But yeah, if you don't know what they did with it in Tokyo, you should probably hear that first.
No, I don't. That's why
it would be hilarious if your idea was the same. Maybe I should let you go first.
No, I think I know what they've done with it in Tokyo.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why.
Do you think you know what they did with it in the 90s in Tokyo?
No, I don't. I know what they did in the 90s with us here, and it was quite controversial.
Yes, it was.
All right, before we dive into the rest of the Tiki Bird history, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. If you're on an audio platform like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, thank you so much for listening. It would help the show out so much if you felt compelled to leave us a review. It really helps the show out a lot, and we love to read them. And if you would like to see the visual version of the podcast, we have printed out a poster for the Enchanted Tiki Room just for you, and you can see it over on the YouTube channel Neverland Navigation Co.
Yes, and if you are thinking about taking a trip, either a Disney trip or a cruise or any kind of trip, please consider sending me an email at neverlandnavigationco@gmail.com, because I am a free-to-you travel agent. I can help you by getting you the same deal you'd be able to get yourself by spending hours and hours online getting frustrated, or better. A lot of times I do better than what my clients found online before they talked to me. And because I get paid commission by the place that you're going, even though you get a better deal than you would have gotten by yourself, I also give you free trip t-shirts from our 5-star Etsy store.
Yeah.
You get to customize them however you want. So that's a win-win, and as a small business owner, you would also be doing me a big favor.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a good that not only is that a great bargain to get free t-shirts thrown in, but they're so nice and soft.
Yeah.
I love a soft Neverland Navigation t-shirt. One of
Yeah.
my go-tos for sure. All right, Morgan. Now, last time we were discussing the Enchanted Tiki Room, and I will say, if you haven't heard part one of this discussion, that would be wise because it really does set up kind of where we're at now. Basically, where we are in the loose timeline of the
Oh
evolution.
God, there's no timeline.
Is that the Disneyland version has opened, and it's a little different than what they were originally thinking it was going to be. Because we were discussing, they were thinking it was going to be a restaurant. It opens as an attraction, and it's a hit because, you know, the Audio-Animatronics are such a draw for people. They're like a unique kind of offering, and the song's really catchy. You can't get it out of your head.
Oh yeah.
We haven't even talked about the song.
We haven't talked about the song yet.
So is that where we should start?
Let's start there.
Absolutely.
The song,
one of the best ones,
yeah.
I think. One of the classic Disney park songs.
I agree. So the song was done by the Sherman Brothers, as I think a lot of people probably know that. There's not much like controversy or much to tell. Walt Disney went to the Sherman Brothers for this, and they came up with something in no time.
And they nailed it. Like they
you would
tend
think
to
that
do.
They said tiki too many times, but it worked.
It can't be done. You can't say tiki too many times, it turns out.
When they wrote it, they were looking to write something that was kind of like a cheesy, telling you what you're about to experience, and hey, here we are.
It sounds like
Can't
colorful.
Get it out of your head.
Yeah, it's true. It's an earworm. 100%. It sounds like what a postcard looks like, the Tiki Room song.
Yes.
It's like perfect for the vibe.
Yes. Yeah, the song is great. I can't imagine it any other way.
Totally.
I have read a little blurbs here and there when doing this research that some people aren't excited anymore about the name, the Tiki Room. Have you heard anything about that?
No, I wasn't aware.
Yeah, it's like lightly controversial in that
because of the co-opting of Polynesian culture.
Yes, and the word tiki, like the way that we as Americans use the word tiki, and I feel like I should look up specifics before.
So it's a little touchy.
It's a little touchy.
Understandable.
For other cultures.
Okay, gotcha. A lot of Adventureland is going through this problem.
Yeah.
So this is not new.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So, and it's the word specifically tiki, which is unfortunate.
I see, yeah.
So because
it's a big part of the identity of the attraction.
Can you imagine if they're like, okay, because this is now culturally inappropriate, we have to take out the word tiki.
Could you see them reverting it to Tropical Serenade?
Sure, but what about the song?
Oh, that's tough. They say there is too many times you can say tiki, it turns out. Oh boy. And I don't mean to add to the problem.
No.
By continually say, if they feel the need to change it, I would be okay with that.
Disney's not saying anything about it at this time, but it's not like they announced this stuff ahead of time. I have just you know how
they must be aware of it though.
Yeah. You when you start reaching stuff, you start seeing what some of this stuff is controversial is happening.
Yes.
Sometimes
we learn this all the time.
Yeah, and then sometimes they don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
just
we'll
depends.
see what happens. I don't really know. You know what I mean? I don't know how bad it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna say whether I think they should or shouldn't because I have no idea. But I will tell you,
totally.
You know the Mickey cartoons that were running for a long time in the recent years that just ended recently. Were those called something?
They do have a full title, but you mean the most recent Mickey Mouse cartoon.
The ones with Goofy with the yellow eyes that I dislike.
A la Mickey and Minnie's Runaway.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
They did a cartoon that was about the Tiki Room. Like they did this with the Country Bears. If you listen to our Country Bear episode, you'll hear me talk about when they did a cartoon that had some Country Bear references. They did a Mickey cartoon that had some Tiki Room references, but they didn't use the word tiki.
Really?
Yeah, they used the word enchanted something. Hold on. Mickey cartoon. Ugh.
So that does indicate to me that perhaps Disney is at the very least aware of the controversy or the conversation going on around the name Tiki.
Yeah.
You know, kind of hard to say. I honestly don't think um
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find this real quick, but
oh, it's all right.
yeah.
I don't think it's central to the story
Yeah,
that we're
it's just
trying to tell.
interesting. It's just interesting.
It is kind of interesting.
And something to bear in
I
mind.
didn't even know that was
Yeah,
a thing.
because if changes are made in the future, we're gonna have to remember this instead of getting worked up over the fact that they're changing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine losing that song.
Yeah, that would be a big change. The song is definitely like one of the standout portions of the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huge component of the attraction. So it would definitely be quite the rework.
It would.
Or maybe that would be the death of the Tiki Room, and they would just put the birds in a different spot. And
maybe there's another small controversy surrounding this. I will get into
what?
it.
Who knew the Tiki Room was controversial?
Everything is controversial, but like
fair enough.
I'll get into it in a minute. And this one does, I guess, make sense. Although
lots of the controversies that they have addressed, I felt like needed to be addressed.
Yeah.
So if this,
and maybe
I trust them to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, I trust them to deal with it.
Yes. It might take a little bit more time than like, you know, Tiana's.
Yeah.
It came. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Splash Mountain was the cause of controversy for quite a while, and quite a loud amount of controversy. I don't think it was quite like this, where we're just now learning it's even controversial at all.
Yes, right. So that's, and that might be,
and that's just where it's at right now
in
2025.
Yeah,
you know?
And that might be telling of how long it might take to make any changes, or if they even need to be changed. I don't know how big of an issue this is.
Yeah. Okay. So fair enough. What is this other controversy?
Oh, do you want me here? I'll get into that now, but I'm going to I will get into that in a minute.
Okay.
Because, so when we're talking about the Disneyland version of the original attraction,
yeah.
We are in the last episode, we talked about how it was going to be a restaurant, and then kind of last minute they changed it to just be a show.
Really interesting.
Yes. So the original concept also had one bird being the MC.
Oh.
Yeah, and then Walt wanted 4 birds of different nationalities hosting the show instead of just one.
Okay.
Originally, they were all the same colors, white, green, and yellow and blue. I shouldn't have said and twice, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Later, their feathers, this is where I'm going with this.
Ooh.
Later, their feathers match the flags of their implied countries of origin.
Ooh, cute.
Yeah, cute, right? Jose, who is voiced by Wally Bogue.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm not sure.
So we do know all of these names from little other things, but I will get into the one that we really, really know. But anyway, Wally Bogue, I hope I'm saying that right.
I think so.
He did Jose. He has red, white, and green feathers and speaks with a Mexican accent. Michael is white and green with an Irish brogue. Voiced by Fulton Burley.
Okay.
Pierre is blue, white, and red and has a French accent voiced by Ernie Newton. And then red, black, and white Fritz has a German accent provided by Thurl Ravenscroft.
Oh, I didn't know Thurl Ravenscroft was involved.
Yes, I know, right? I didn't know either. It makes you want to go back and listen.
Now we will listen for him.
We will. So
fun trivia.
Yes. Thurl Ravenscroft voiced Fritz the same, and then he also voiced Tony the Tiger. He sang
They're great.
You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. And most importantly for us, he did the lead vocals for Grim Grinning Ghosts in the Haunted Mansion. Icon
of voice
He
performance.
did a bunch of other stuff in Disney too.
Yeah.
Those are just like the headliners.
Totally.
So
just his greatest hits.
Yes. Here's the controversy, right? The controversy was over the use of nationalism associated white rather than gold or yellow in the German flag. That's led to counter anti-Semitic groups to press for a change of Fritz's color. So the German flag is red, black, and yellow.
Okay.
But his feathers are red, black, and white.
Okay.
I looked into like I Google searched flag color change,
Hmm.
Germany, like all this stuff, and I wasn't really finding anything. So
Okay.
I don't really know what's up. And then of course there's a little bit of controversy about the stereotyped accents.
Yeah, I think
But
that
this was typical of the 60s. Like it's not like they were trying
absolutely
to offend anybody.
it
They were
was.
trying to represent Walt was trying to have a representation of different nations.
Yeah, like it's a small world. That
Yes.
was kind of the vibe, I
Right.
think, was that they were trying to represent, oh, these are birds from all different hemispheres and
Yes.
continents, and I think that was the idea. But I do see why people find the like voices offensive. I get that. And I also I had no idea about this German flag
I know.
situation.
I
That's
still don't
really
really
interesting.
understand it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll find out more. If anybody out there is a history buff and knows the
Boy, these
details, please send us a message on Instagram.
oh yeah, I'd be
I
fascinated.
would be too.
These birds are so controversial, Morgan.
Yeah.
All right.
When creating them, Mark Davis wanted he wanted to add chest plates. So they originally made them without chest plates. So
Okay.
they were moving their wings and moving their head, but he wanted to add chest plates so it would look like they were breathing, which
Wow.
is such an important thing that you don't really think about, but it
Mhm.
adds to the lifelike nature of animatronics.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of like I just feel like a groundbreaking little thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did he win? Do they
Oh yeah,
breathe?
yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah, and then they also decided to use cashmere to cover up the chests of the birds, which came about in a really surprising way. They were having a planning meeting, and Harriet Burns noticed that Walt was wearing a cashmere sweater, and that when he moved, the way that it kind of moved with his elbow, she thought was perfect.
Oh
And was like, I
wow.
want to use this, whatever you're wearing, I want to use that.
I
And
love these people.
yes, yeah.
I
Who
love
thinks like
these
this?
people.
I
Yeah,
know,
that
I
is
know.
incredible.
Yes. So they wound up. They've got cashmere on their chest. That's how they wound up doing that.
Cool.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty fascinating too. So at the beginning, the very beginning, Disneyland in the 60s, the drawback to all of these 150 animatronics or whatever the number is, like I said,
Mhm.
it's been reported as different numbers, but it's at least 150.
And that's all animatronic, so that's not just
That's
birds.
including the flowers and I think there are trees.
The totem
Yeah,
poles.
totem poles.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. Specifically for birds, if you
Mhm.
wanted to know the specifics, there
Please.
are 8 macaws, 6 cockatoos,
Oh wow.
12 toucans,
Uh-huh.
9 fork-tailed birds, and almost 20 other tropical birds. And then they're joined by 54 singing orchids,
I love them.
7 birds of paradise flowers, 12 tiki drummers, and 4 singing tikis.
That
This is
is
the minimum.
really specific.
Very specific,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yes.
That's so cool that they've got so many different groups going.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, the drawback to this the amount of animatronics and the fact that this was brand new tech was that the computers running the program were bigger than the theater itself. So they had to
Wow.
create a whole room for that.
Cool.
Yeah. And the computers generated so much heat
Oh
that
my
they had
gosh.
to add air conditioning so that they wouldn't overheat, which is why the Tiki
Oh.
Room was the first attraction to be air conditioned.
That is so fascinating.
Yeah. Today, a computer about the size of a laptop will do the job.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Sticking with the very beginning of when it opened,
Mhm.
Walt decided to put the ownership of the attraction under his own company, WED Enterprises, which I guess makes sense because he footed the bill, but it's also weird because the whole park was his. It's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
So this was a strange decision, and because of this decision to put this one singular attraction under WED Enterprises when the entire rest of the park was under the Walt Disney Company, that meant that to enter the Tiki Room, you had to pay a separate admission.
Oh,
And so they had to pay a 75-cent admission.
gotcha.
It wasn't like ticket book. Like
he was like, yeah, I'll put money up for this, but
I'm
you're
giving it
gonna
back.
give it back to
Yeah,
me.
I guess.
Okay, interesting.
So 75 cents when the ride opened in 1963.
Cool. All right, I didn't know that. But that was in the era of things costing money, right?
Yeah.
Like different
Everything
attractions
was-
costing
Right,
different amount of
but
money.
the other attractions you could buy a ticket book.
Right. This was
and be like,
separately ticketed.
This was separate. You
Really
bring your
interesting.
quarters.
Yeah, bring your pocket change.
Yeah.
Cool. Interesting.
But it was really, really crazy popular.
Yeah, a lot of people were willing to give the money, so
Yes.
Cool.
They had they made an animatronic bird barker, like a carnival barker, that they positioned outside of the ride that would say things like the next show is in 2 minutes or whatever. He was supposed to they gave him a name. His name is Juan. He's a cousin of Jose. He was the original colors that I had mentioned earlier. It was like green, white, yellow, and blue, I believe.
Yeah.
And he had a little hat.
Aww.
He was so popular, and of course, if you're standing in the street, again, air quotes, it's just a walking paved, not even paved, right, area. You could stand there and watch him, which these people had never seen an animatronic before.
Mm-hmm.
You could do that for free.
Yeah.
So it caused so much traffic congestion that they had to remove him almost immediately. Because people would just like in droves be just there watching this barker.
He's incredible.
Yes. And he is now, or a replica of him, is now in the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco.
Aww.
And I have some really bad video of him from when we went to the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco that I might put up on Instagram.
Oh, please do.
It's
that
a
would
bad
be awesome.
video,
That's
you
okay.
guys. This was years ago. I wasn't thinking about it for Instagram purposes. I was just taking a quick video.
I still want to see.
And they're kind of like, in this museum, there's a little bit of like a flow, which is very unfortunate to somebody like me that wants to read every word of everything in, you know what I mean?
They're going to have to go around me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm like the biggest fan ever, and I want to read everything. And,
yeah.
Anyway,
I've been there.
I needed a whole nother day there.
I feel like that in queue lines sometimes. I'm like, no. I can't move just yet, but you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
I love his colors and his hat so much.
Yes.
If you've not seen this bird, do yourself a favor and give him a Google.
Yeah.
Just Google Tiki Room Barker Bird.
Yeah.
He is
I
so
will probably
cute.
post him on Instagram.
Yeah, actually, don't do that. Go to at Neverland Navco on Instagram to see footage because wow, he's so cute.
He is so cute. And yeah, he would just say fun things, and this was so new to everybody.
And he had a little cane. Oh, he's like Carnival Barker with a little cane. He's genuinely so cute. I love him. All right, yeah. So they took him away. He was too popular for his own good.
Yeah, he was causing all kinds of congestion that wasn't working out. So they had to take him away. That was really it for the very beginnings of the Tiki Birds. It was at the beginning. Like I said earlier, I think it was 17 minutes. Yeah. And then
long show.
Yeah, long show. And then in the 90s, in Disneyland, mid 90s, they added subwoofers, which made the sound much better than it was before.
Yeah.
You were actually able to hear all of the instruments at the same time that they intended for you to hear, but they just didn't have the technology for that back when they first put it in. And they also at that time shaved off nearly 4 minutes of the show, but they did it in a
tasteful.
Yeah, like you would hardly notice. I wonder if people didn't notice.
Ours is short, not to jump ahead, but ours is short now, isn't it?
I think ours is identical to this one.
The shorter one?
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
And it was like, we took a phrase out of the song.
I don't miss any runtime.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't feel like... They also added a pre-show. So, to ours.
Right, yeah.
Yes, another renovation came to the show. I don't know if this is when it was. I'm going to go ahead and, I think this is when it was, but I'm going to go ahead and start reading this note that I took. So in March 2005, after a 7-month refurbishment, for Disney's, this was 2005, so it's for Disneyland's 50th birthday, they just did a bunch of like refurbishments that helped
Nice.
make it a nicer experience.
I love that.
Prior to the 2005 refurbishment, feathers would regularly fall from the animatronic birds, which, I mean, sounds like a great souvenir, but, you know, they, I guess, wanted that to stop. Their movements were noisy and slow, so I'm imagining, like, country bear problems.
Yep.
And afterwards, the show stayed the same, but now they were enhanced with the digitally remastered audio track. They add a new sound system indoors and a completely new audio animatronic figures that looked the same as the previous ones, but they had their internal workings were completely different.
Right, that makes sense.
Surprising, though, because Disney does like to hold on to their audio animatronics for decades and decades and decades.
Yeah.
But it had been decades and decades and decades.
It sounds to me like a country bear jamboree situation that we had here.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, they didn't change the actual content of the show, but, like, you know, I feel like they've really spruced up the inner workings of our animatronics.
Agree.
Of
Oh my
those.
gosh. That we could have some new animatronics. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised after reading this if we found out that, like, the 3 animatronics on the wall of the country bear are now new.
Yeah.
Because they're so quiet.
Yeah, they've really been, you know, the characters have been so improved by those changes.
That the, like,
so
speaking and clicking and stuff was definitely an issue that we noticed in, like, older animatronics around Disney World. So that is cool that they put the money into it in 2005.
Yeah, really, including our own Tiki Room. Our own Tiki Room was very noisy, and, you know, I get what they're talking about.
Yeah,
with the need to improve the fluidity of the animatronics.
Yeah. So for ours, we talked about this a little bit on the last episode, but we got the Enchanted Tiki Room under new management.
Yeah.
Which Jake and I liked, but it did not.
It ruffled some feathers.
Thank you. Yeah, it ruffled some feathers.
Yeah.
Most said it was one of the worst updates to an attraction that they had ever done.
Yeah.
People had some bad things to say.
Yeah, they thought it was cheesy, hokey, tacky.
Well, yeah, but wasn't it that to
begin with?
It was
the 90s. Everything was cheesy and hokey and tacky.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, I as a child thought it was fun and funny.
Me too.
But whatever. People didn't like it. Now it's gone.
I think there was a different kind of feeling about what was where, though. Because, like, I think if you were someone who went to Disney World, odds are you probably weren't also going to Disneyland. So maybe this was people's only chance to experience the Enchanted Tiki Room.
I get what you're saying, but I don't know.
I don't know.
You could say that about, and people
I'm just trying to understand why people were so mad, you know? Because I don't really get it.
But people got mad about them adding a few non-talking IP characters to It's a Small World.
Yeah.
I think it reminds me, and I'm saying that again because to me, they're the same. It's like, you're mad at Disney for entering IP. Like, you think, oh, maybe that's the thought process is, oh, you're just trying to advertise these characters that are yours that you make money off of because they're in movies.
Yeah, a part of that, I think maybe people should realize that is what Disneyland was for.
Yes, and...
You know, partially.
And I think that there's a lot more to it, because I think that in addition to... I don't think anybody goes, oh my gosh, there's a mermaid in this Small World attraction, now I want to go see that movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, you've already seen the movie. Everybody's seen the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
You're at Disney.
I just think that they're trying to appeal to a new generation.
Yeah.
And that upsets people.
Right.
That
Purists.
didn't need that.
Yeah. I get it. I totally get it. Fair enough.
So anyway.
It's not me, but I understand.
Right. And there are things that we do feel this way about a little.
The originals mostly.
Yeah.
Like, if something is an original version of an attraction, we're mostly like, oh, maybe don't make any seismic changes to that, you know?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of examples.
Sometimes our attractions get totally
taken away.
That's usually what happens here.
Right.
Like Maelstrom to Frozen would be an example of that. And that was like, and how we feel about that is that there's good and that there's bad. Like, we like the Frozen ride. We like that it's popular. We miss in a nostalgic way, we miss Maelstrom.
Yeah,
You know,
I
it's
wouldn't
complicated.
have minded if they kept Maelstrom, sorry, and put a frozen land somewhere. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like Hollywood Studios or
Yeah.
even Magic Kingdom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Which is what they've
completely
done
agree.
now in other parks.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. That's the way I felt about Runaway Railway. I loved it's I say this so much, but I loved the Great Movie Ride, so I
That's actually the name of our podcast. We loved the Great Movie Ride. It comes up
And-
every episode.
But I don't have a problem with Runaway Railway. I just wish it would have been put in Toontown
Totally.
or whatever.
I definitely
We don't have Toontown, but
you
know
know
what
I
mean.
feel the same.
Yeah. So anyway,
So,
but
okay.
I don't mind little changes. I feel like we do understand both sides.
Yeah.
But we also have a pretty good trust in Disney Imagineers.
Yes,
Yeah.
especially knowing so much of the history of how they change attractions. Most of the time, we feel like we're generally in pretty good hands
Yes.
when it comes to updates. And that was a big update under new management. And then they reverted it back at some point, right?
So for those of you who did hate this change,
Mhm.
you got your karmic retribution or whatever because Iago caught fire.
That's real.
That's
okay.
real.
This was going to be one of my questions during this episode to you was like, I have heard that at some point our version of this caught on fire.
Yes, there is a, you know how there are reports from when the fire department has to come out to whatever. So there is a report showing that there was a fire in the attic of the Tiki Room attraction.
Ugh.
And you know how Iago kind of came down from the ceiling?
Yeah.
So, and that he's the only one that was specifically hurt in a irreparable way, which is almost funny because he's the one, if you've never seen the under new management attraction, he is like tempting the gods to do stuff,
right? And they respond with weather, which is like with the elements, which is really like
like a
crazy
thunderstorm.
Yeah.
So it's almost like
they got
the
him.
gods got him. Yeah. So he was irreparably damaged, and then they were like, let's just change it back. Nobody likes it anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. It's cool that they were able to like take it in stride, I guess.
If that's there was some other damage, that it was water damage from the sprinklers going off. He's the only one that
really
fire damage.
That is so weird.
It's so funny. Like if you haven't experienced under new management, maybe check out YouTube, watch somebody's video of it so you can see how kind of ironic it is.
It is ironic
that this bird is like cursing to the gods, and then he's the one that catches fire.
Yeah.
It's comical.
It is. It's like, they dealt with him.
I didn't write down the specific date, I don't think, but there were like even the specific date and time because it was a fire department report. Is on the internet.
Gotcha.
So it is definitely a real thing.
Wow.
And very, very interesting.
It did end up being a restaurant, and the first meal was roasted. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's all right. Yeah. So there was a fire, and that led to how it got reverted back. I was wondering if that's what the timeline was or what the deal was.
Yes.
Really interesting.
And so after that, they redid it, and that's when they renamed it to Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room in 2011.
Cool. Okay. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm happy with that.
So to jump to another country entirely, I hope I'm not ending on this. It's not. Anyway, to jump to another country entirely, the only other country that has the Tiki Room is Tokyo.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, the attraction was once a clone of the original attraction. And then in 1999, it closed for refurbishment. And then this is when it gets interesting. It became the Enchanted Tiki Room, now playing Get the Fever! ! Do you want to guess what this means?
Get the fever.
Yeah.
They made it disco?
Kind of.
What?
This attraction was rethemed as a madcap Las Vegas style nightclub show in the middle of the jungle.
What? I've never heard of this.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's
Las Vegas nightclub.
I know.
Tiki Bird nightclub?
No.
Oh, I have my answer for what I want them to do with the birds.
Yes.
Tiki Bird nightclub.
Yes.
That's crazy.
It's the crazy. I was like, I have to have read this wrong.
Are they doing like Elvis songs?
I don't know.
That's so
I
wild.
don't know.
All right. Good for
So,
them for taking a big swing.
Big swing, and
Yeah.
it stayed open like this for a while. Let me see. So Get
From the 90s, you
Fever
said?
was in 1999.
Okay.
And then it went until 2008.
Oh, wow. All right.
A good 9-year run.
9 years of fever.
Yeah, 9 years of fever. It closed again and reopened in July of 2008, July 25th of 2008, as the Enchanted Tiki Room. Stitch presents Aloha I Como Mai.
Oh, they're not done.
They're not done.
There's another different version.
Apparently, the nightclub. So this was probably I want to say about the same time as we lost Pleasure Island. Maybe they were.
Oh,
I don't know if
nightclubs
that's
are
true.
done.
I don't know.
Nightclubs are done.
Yeah.
So did the Tiki Gods like strike down the disco ball in this one, or was it just like they decided?
I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
Know.
Okay, so
now it's
Stitch. Is it like? Do you know anything about it, or
Not
is it just
really.
there's Stitch in it?
Featuring Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. This is the only version that doesn't have the Tiki. I'm not going to say it 5 times. The original song.
Oh, they did take the song out.
They took the song out.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
So
okay.
So
there is
I
a world.
Watched it, but there's Stitch. He's got a little
ukulele.
So it makes sense. I'm hoping that the birds are still in there, but I haven't watched.
I bet they are.
I bet they are.
I bet they are. Okay, so there is a world where this does change and doesn't have the song in it anymore.
I guess there is. Yeah, but that's in Chinese. I mean, they could have just translated it differently.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have the song at all, so I'm sure it's not just translated differently.
Oh,
yeah.
Right. They took the whole song out.
Yeah, but
interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
I tried to read more about this Get the Fever thing because I thought it was the most fascinating.
Oh, I'm gonna watch it on YouTube.
Ever. I'm going to too. It's hard. There's not much out about it.
Yeah, I bet that makes a lot of sense.
Especially here, there might be more about it in like
on the
China.
Japanese internet.
Yeah.
Oh wait, what country is this?
It was Hong Kong.
Oh, it's Hong Kong.
Wait, was it Tokyo? I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Hold on. Well, I have it. Tokyo. You're right.
Oh, it is
Japanese.
Tokyo. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So
they love Stitch over there, number one.
Yeah.
In Japan,
Mm-hmm.
he's a big merch seller like he is here. But also it's in Hawaii. The movie is in Hawaii, so
yeah, sure.
I get it. Sure.
Yeah.
They could put Moana in there, to be honest.
This says that I know, and that would be the change that I would expect.
Me too. Hey.
Yeah. Still having the birds.
Yeah.
From what I can understand, and again, I don't know, I don't want to offend anybody, but from what I can understand, Moana is more culturally accurate.
Okay.
Do you feel like I said that right?
Then Lilo and Stitch?
No, then the Tiki Room.
Well, that's a low bar. It seems like Tiki Room is not particularly
fair.
with it.
Fair. All right.
By some definitions.
Yeah.
Okay, but that definitely makes sense.
So making some changes to make it like Moana and then like updating the cultural appropriateness might be a smart move.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe you can leave them, the birds. I hate to lose Thurl Ravenscroft.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they get rid of the song, but they keep some of the lines and the birds.
But that's a little, I guess, problematic too, so I don't know.
Oh, fair enough. So what is it still...
They still have Clyde and Claude, they're the birds in the pre-show in Walt Disney World. They still have a pre-show for the Get the Fever in Tokyo. They have Clyde and Claude, but it was reworked to turn the two toucans into a hip-hop duo named Toucan with the number 2.
A hip-hop duo?
Yeah, because it's a nightclub.
That doesn't track all the way. It's Las Vegas theme. So they've
with Citra Kua being equipped with a large boombox. Oh my god, this is crazy.
This is one of the wilder things we've covered, I think. Like attraction makeovers.
Yeah, this show is focused around awakening the Tiki Room from a long slumber and had a high energy musical score intended to awaken the Tiki gods and get them to party.
That's kind of what Under New Management did too. Yeah. There was a scene like that in Under New Management.
Maybe it's not as nightclub. I mean, they used the word nightclub. That's wild.
I bet there was like great disco ball and lighting in there.
You think?
Yeah, I bet they did a disco
I mean, they
number.
had a boombox and they changed the pre-show birds into being a
rap
hip-hop duo.
Wow.
So maybe.
When we say big swing, that is like crazy out there.
But it says...
Smells like Michael Eisner to me. I bet he cooked this up somehow.
His kid.
Yeah, his kid was like, there needs to be more hip-hop in here. Yeah.
I want scary aliens and hip-hop.
Yeah.
Musical tracks in this show included the Tiki Room with slightly rewritten lyrics to introduce the new story.
Okay.
And then In the Summertime with altered lyrics. And then Hot, Hot, Hot used to introduce the Birdmobile.
Okay.
When this fails to awaken the Tiki gods, the Tiki birds almost lose hope. Fever, sung by Lava, succeeds in waking the Tiki gods, who join in near the end. Hawaiian war chant comes in as the Tikis get more into the beat.
Yeah.
This information's coming from DisneyFandom.com, by the way.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. I couldn't find much on this weird revision of the Tiki Room.
Niche information, to say the least.
I Want to Be Like You, altered lyrics, serves as the finale as the Tiki birds celebrate bringing the Tiki Room back to life, going into a reprise of the Tiki Room song.
Okay.
Though this show was produced for a Japanese audience with the Japanese language presentation, the Imagineering team created an English track for use in programming the show.
Cool.
All right.
Interesting.
Fascinating.
Yeah, so that is really interesting. I recall, didn't Under New Management have conga in it?
Yes. Oh my god, and I completely forgot about that until I rewatched it when I'm
did?
like researching, and I'm like, I'm just gonna rewatch this because I was a child when I went on it.
Yeah, that's one of the only things I remember about it.
Conga, and I was like, oh my god, Easter egg to Guardians. What?
It's crazy
that's one of the songs that can play during Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, and as you guys know, that's my favorite ride of all time.
Yeah, it's really interesting that that song had a place in Walt Disney World years and years ago.
I know, and it was Gloria Estefan, right?
Yeah.
So she also owned a restaurant in Disney Springs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of connection there.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Okay,
yeah,
is that the so they now have the Stitch version?
They now have the Stitch
we
version.
have the shortened classic version, and that is also what Disneyland has, right?
Yes.
The shortened classic version.
Yeah, and they're not allowed to change it.
And they're right. Dole says, "Don't no fever, no hip hop duo.
Don't turn this into a nightclub. I swear to God.
Disney...
I will send you to your room."
That seems like the vibe.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of where we are now?
Yeah, that's where we are now, and that's pretty much the end of my information here.
That was incredible. I can't believe how crazy the different versions have been throughout time.
Oh my god, I can't.
Nothing is sacred at Walt Disney World.
Well, in Tokyo, maybe that they would have done that here. I guess it's.
Yeah.
I've got to watch it. If there's no like actual dancing of the people, then it's not really like a nightclub. It's really but still, the hip hop duo and the boombox.
Just that alone is such a huge departure in like tone and everything from the original. Good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them for doing something crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, that was enlightening. I can't wait to watch this on YouTube.
I knew there would be things that you didn't know. I was like, this is crazy.
I had no idea. I didn't even really know the whole story about the fire either. That's also really interesting.
Yeah.
This has definitely been one of the more... It was worth the two-part to get all of this wild
it's so much,
information. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this adventure through the history of the Tiki Room. If you guys would like to see more Disney content, history, in-park content, and more, you can check us out on both Instagram and TikTok at Neverland Navco.
Yes, we also have an Etsy shop called Neverland Navigation. You just type shop names Neverland Navigation, and you can find the store. But there, instead of browsing, I'd rather you just send me a message and tell me what you love. If you love the Tiki Room, if you love Pirates of the Caribbean, whatever, and I will send you some design options because I'm more into custom shirts than posting 5,000 designs. We have so many designs I can't even. So send me a message and I'll send you some options. You can do t-shirts, you can do sweatshirts, you can do dish towels. And this is also where you would get your family custom trip shirts from if you decide to book a vacation and let me be your travel agent by emailing me at neverlandnavigationco@gmail.com.
All right. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for sticking through to the end of this Enchanted Tiki Room adventure. It's been a lot of fun. And we will see you on our next adventure. Goodbye.